Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day and a new week, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. And we've got absolutely no time to waste, guys, so let's just dive right into today's picks. Some really juicy picks coming off a really strong week last week. 14-3 in our single bet player props. We did lose our parlay on Saturday, but we have been on a really good run. Let's keep the good times rolling going into today's picks. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Brewers-Guardians game, 6:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Freddie Peralta of the Milwaukee Brewers under 4.5 hits allowed. We're grabbing this one for -135 over on DraftKings. Really solid data here for Freddie Peralta, who's having a solid year thus far in Milwaukee. He started 8 games already. He's cashed this under in 6 out of 8 games. It's a 75% hit rate this year, averaging just 4 hits allowed per game this season. Only 2 times this year has he gone over. That's the Athletics and the Giants went over back in the middle of April. But pretty good numbers across the board here. He played some good offenses too where he's held them down. Even last year, 64% hit rate last year on this under, so pretty good numbers historically for him. In the head-to-head department, he played Cleveland once last year back on August 17th, and he did cash the under, only 4 hits allowed in what was a 2-1 win for Milwaukee. So really solid data there. And if you scroll down below to the supporting stats here, Cleveland batting versus right-handed pitchers this year, not great. 239 batting average is 23rd in Major League Baseball. So you have one of the bottom 10 offenses versus right-handed pitchers. BABIP, bottom 3, hard hitting percentage, bottom 10. Now over the last 30 games, some numbers fluctuate, right? Their batting average a little bit better, but still bottom half of the league, 19th in Major League Baseball over the last 30 games. BABIP, again, slightly better, still bottom 10. Hard hitting percentage, slightly better, still bottom 10. The only area where they're not terrible is strikeout percentage. They actually don't strike out a ton. But overall, even in their improved numbers of late, still a solid matchup here for Freddie Peralta. Look at his numbers, 88th percentile right now, 196 batting average allowed. Everything green across the board. 80th percentile BABIP, 79th percentile strikeout percentage, 90th percentile in hard pitching percentage, and then also ERA 90th, 2.18 ERA. So really good numbers across the board here for Freddie Peralta. I love this for -135 odds too, honestly. Pretty strong value for the first player prop in this week's slate. Cruising right along here, guys. Our second player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Nationals Atlanta Braves game, 7:15 p.m. first pitch. We're going Josh Bell of the Washington Nationals under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. A little more juiced, -140 over on BetMGM, but still not bad at all. Data's phenomenal. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging just 0.8 HRRs per game over his last 10 games. You go ahead, look at the last 20 games, 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20. He's cashed the under, averaging just 0.9 HRRs per game. Go ahead and spread the data out to the entire season view. A 71% hit rate on the under for Josh Bell. 24 out of 34 games this year, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.24 HRRs per game this year. So last 10, last 20, even the overall numbers, really phenomenal across the board on this under for Josh Bell. And even in the head-to-head department, 4 of his last 6 matchups with Atlanta, all dating back to last year, he cashed the under. That's a 67% hit rate against the Braves, averaging 1.33 HRRs per game against Atlanta across the last 6 matchups. So really good solid data there. If you scroll down below, you also have the insights provided by Outlier. Josh Bell has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 7 of his last 8 games, averaging just 0.6 HRRs per game over his last 8 games. Now, Josh Bell is a switch hitter, but he does primarily bat lefty. Looking down below at his batting numbers here, 134 batting average on the year, having a very rough season. Versus right-handed pitchers, his numbers do increase a little bit, right? You do see the batting average goes from 134 to 152. His WRC plus from 45.5 to 55.4. So you do see those increases in his numbers. But guys, even at the increased lines, 152 batting average, and I hate to spoil this for you all, is not a good number. That's not a good batting average. Yes, it's better than 134, but I don't know what kind of analogy I could make there, but the moral of the story being, that's still not a good number. It's like if a car had no wheels and you add one wheel onto it. Yeah, it's got one wheel. It's better than it had no wheels, I guess, technically. But it still needs 3 more wheels, and that's kind of this, right? I mean, I don't know if that was a great analogy, but you get the point what I'm trying to say here. Looking down below at Grant Holmes, though, having a solid year. Now, the ERA is a little high, but his batting average allowed, WOBA, they're not terrible. Pretty solid numbers across the board for Grant Holmes. Now, it's listed to data versus left-handed batters. Again, Josh Bell's a switch hitter, so he could go righty here. But I think the numbers they're basing it off of is what he primarily bats. And Josh Bell, I do believe, primarily bats lefty. So versus lefties, 186 batting average. His numbers actually all increase significantly, or decrease significantly, I should say, but it's better for us. Our chances of hitting increase significantly. But his numbers do decrease across the board. But again, Josh Bell could bet righty. If that's the case, those numbers obviously will go up. But seeing his overall numbers, even versus right-handed batters, yes, they're going to be higher. It's still not going to be terrible. So I think across the board, really solid matchup and a really solid player prop here for the second prop in today's video. By the way, guys, we're about to hit the 6-minute mark in today's video. So if you're still watching at this point, please comment 6 down below. As always, guys, we appreciate those who watch through each and every single video here on the channel. Put a lot of hard work into it. Yes, I still love you guys. Even if you just jump to the comments and grab the picks, I still love you guys, but I do appreciate and maybe even love the ones who watch through all the videos a little bit more. But I still love you all, regardless of how long you stick around. But if you are here still riding with us at this point in the video, comment 6 down below. Our third player prop in today's slate, moving on to the Angels-Padres game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 130 over on BetMGM. And the data on this one, guys, from a recent standpoint in particular, is phenomenal. The data across the board is really solid, but from a recent standpoint, it's out of this world. 10 straight games, he's cashed the over. It's a 100% hit rate, obviously, over the last 10 games, averaging 3.5 HRRs per game over his last 10 games. So really good numbers there of late for Machado. Now, it's funny because he has this nice 10-game run, but before then, it was a lot of misses. So 13 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.35 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 20. He's cashed this in 11 consecutive games, but you look in the prior 9, just 2 of the previous 9 had he cashed the over. So that cold streak led to a hot streak there for him. And then if you go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view for Manny Machado, a 69... We'll go ahead and pause for the applause. 69% hit rate on the over for the year. 27 out of 39 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 2.44 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. So like I said, pretty good numbers across the board here for Manny Machado. The head-to-head data, a little on the small side. He did play them 3 times last year. He cashed the over in 2 of those 3 matchups, averaging 2.33 HRRs per game over those 3 matches. But again, small sample size, all from last year as well. Again, the insight provided by Outlier, like we already talked about, Manny Machado has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 11 straight games, averaging 3.5 HRRs per game over his last 11 games. Looking down below the matchup here, Manny Machado versus Kikuchi, the pitcher for the Angels. 9 plate appearances since 2018, 250 batting average, has a couple home runs off of him. Yes, not a ton of hits, just 2 hits and 9 plate appearances, but he does have a couple home runs, a handful of RBIs, so some pretty good numbers there for Machado from the head-to-head department. Manny Machado batting .324 this year, really good numbers. Versus left-handed pitchers, you do see some increases, right? His batting average is a very minor increase, .324 to .326, not that significant, but his WRC plus does increase from 145.7 to 184.3, so pretty solid increase there. And look at Kikuchi, who's not having the best of years, not I guess the worst of years either. Versus right-handed batters, significant increases in the numbers. ERA, batting average, home runs per 9, WOBA. You all see steady increases across all 4 of those data points. Across the board, guys, this is a fantastic player prop. We're riding the hot hand here, and it's honestly, with the hot streak he's on, the overall numbers, the head-to-head matchup, you know, the splits down below, everything points to this being a fantastic player prop. And for minus 130, phenomenal value here. All right, guys, on our 4th and final player prop in today's slate, moving on to the Yankees-Mariners game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees over 1.5 total bases. We're getting that for minus 125 over on BetMGM. However, it is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. And again, solid data across the board. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 3.7 total bases per game over his last 10 games. Even you want to go ahead and stretch it out a little further to the last 20 games, 16 of his last 20 he's cashed the over, averaging 3.3 total bases per game over his last 20 games. And then looking at it from an overall perspective, a 70% hit rate on the season for Aaron Judge. 28 out of 40 games this year. He's cashed the over, averaging 3 total bases per game this year. So phenomenal numbers across the board for Aaron Judge. Even the head-to-head department, solid numbers. 4 of his last 7 matchups with Seattle. All 7, of course, taking place last season. He cashed the over, averaging 2.43 total bases per game over their last 7 head-to-head matchups. Again, 57% hit rate over their last 7. Really good numbers across the board here for Aaron Judge. Those are the insights provided by Outlier. Aaron Judge has exceeded 1.5 bases in 12 of his last 14 games, averaging 3.6 bases per game over his last 14. So kind of just reiterating what we talked about, he's done a really good run of late. And look at the key matchup stats down below here. Aaron Judge versus Emerson Hancock. Now, Judge's numbers do decrease when facing off with right-handed pitchers like Hancock. However, it's still, unlike the earlier player prop we talked about with Josh Bell, where, it's an increase, but, it makes no difference. Kind of the same principle here. Yes, it's a decrease, but it makes no difference. 395 batting average is still phenomenal. Yes, it shows red because it's a lower number than his overall. He's not as good from a hitting perspective against righties than he is lefties this year. But 395 is still phenomenal. His BIP still very high. Actually increases to 494. Now his extra base hit percentage and ISO do drop a little bit, which is a little bit of you'd prefer that not to drop, but still overall good matchup. And looking at Hancock, who's not having a great year to begin with, versus right-handed batters, it actually does get worse. ERA, batting average allowed, slugging percentage, extra base hit percentage allowed, all significantly increase when facing off with right-handed batters like Aaron Judge. And looking down below at the pitch splits here, Hancock heavily relies on the sinker, right? 43.6% of his pitches are sinkers. So overall this year, Aaron Judge 532 WOBA, that is elite. That is definitely elite. Versus the sinker, which is Hancock's most utilized pitch, 669. I won't pause for the applause on this one because, wow, 669 WOBA. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal numbers for Aaron Judge. It's a great matchup spot across the board. And again, for minus 125, you just truly cannot beat the value. So, all right, guys, that's all from me today. All 4 player props in today's slate. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Monday. Let's have a great week. Another great week like we had last week. And let's go ahead and make some money.